Amelie was standing in her tiny kitchen in Kigali, icing the last cupcake for her son Kobe's 5th birthday, when her phone buzzed. She wiped her hands, smiled softly, and opened the message. It was from her mother, Zuri. Just one short line, cold and familiar. "We're skipping your kid's birthday. Things are tight." For a moment, Amelie just stared at the screen. Her chest tightened the way it always did whenever her family pushed her aside. She typed back quickly, keeping her tone light. "No problem, Mom." Then she put the phone down and exhaled slowly. But the truth stung. They had missed her graduation, her first job celebration, her wedding, even the day she gave birth. Every milestone, every moment, they were never there. And now they were skipping something for Kobe too. Her little boy who adored them. Her little boy who kept asking, "Will Grandma come today?" Amelie closed her eyes and forced a smile. She didn't want her sadness to become Kobe's memory. She wanted him to feel joy today, not the emptiness she had grown up with. She took a breath, wiped a tear that slipped down her cheek, and whispered to herself, "It's okay. We'll make it special anyway." Kobe ran in with a balloon bigger than his face, laughing. "Mama, look." Amelie knelt, hugged him tightly, and said, "We're going to have the best day ever, just you and me." Inside, her heart was breaking, but she stayed calm. Now, Amelie's childhood was a long lesson in learning how to live without the love she deserved. She was the middle child, the one everyone forgot was there. Her older sister, Nalifa, was treated like a princess. Her younger brother, Timu, was the golden boy who could do no wrong. Their mother, Zuri, showered them with new clothes, birthday trips to Lake Kivu, fancy toys from Kenya. But Amelie? She got leftovers, hand-me-downs, silence. She remembered birthdays where Nalifa would have a big cake, balloons, and cousins invited. Amelie's birthdays were quiet meals at home. No gifts, no celebration, just a quick happy birthday said without looking up. As a little girl, she didn't understand. She tried harder. She tried to be helpful, to be good, to be seen. But her mother's words still echoed in her ears. "Stop asking for attention. You're too much." Even at school events, Zuri would show up cheering loudly for Nalifa's dance performance or Timu's football match. But when it was Amelie's turn, her mother always had something to do. She remembered standing on stage during a school play at age 10, scanning the crowd for her family, and seeing only empty chairs where they were supposed to sit. The pain stayed with her. As she grew older, she hoped things would get better. She told herself, maybe when I'm a teenager. But teenage years brought more hurt. Nalifa would steal her clothes, Timmy would mock her for studying too much, and their mother would shrug, saying, "Ignore it, Amelie. You know how you are. Sensitive." When she moved out at 20, she thought adulthood would change everything. Maybe now they would respect her. Maybe now they would treat her equally. But nothing changed. They visited Nalifa's apartment often, brought food for Timu, helped him with rent, sent money for his car repairs. Yet they rarely checked on Amelie. When she needed help after losing her job one year, her mother simply said, "You're grown, figure it out." Even when she had Kobe, she hoped becoming a mother herself would finally make her family see her. But again, no. They came to the hospital 2 days late, stayed for 10 minutes, and left. No gifts for the baby, no excitement, nothing. It was as if they were doing her a favor by showing up at all. Deep down, Amelie kept hoping, kept trying, kept waiting for that one day when her mother would hold her and say, "I love you and I'm proud." But that day never came. And that's why, when the birthday message arrived years later, it didn't surprise her. It just reopened an old wound that had never truly healed. Amelie stood in the middle of her small living room in Nyamirambo, holding a roll of bright yellow ribbon. The place wasn't fancy, just a tiny space with peeling paint and a couch she bought secondhand, but today she wanted it to feel like a palace for Kobe. It was his 5th birthday, and she wanted him to remember joy, not disappointment. Kobe ran around her feet, trying to blow a balloon but puffing out his cheeks like a baby frog. "Mama, look. It's getting big," he shouted, even though the balloon barely grew. Amelie laughed softly and tied the ribbon to a chair. "You're doing great, my boy. Keep trying." He looked up at her with sparkling eyes. "Grandma will be so happy when she sees all this. And Auntie too." Her smile froze for a second. She knew they weren't coming. She knew the message her mother sent wasn't about money being tight, it was about priorities. And Amelie and her son had never been one of them. But she couldn't let Kobe feel that. So she bent down, gently cupped his face and said, "Yes, baby. They will love how hard we're working." Inside, her heart twisted. She hung the handmade banner they painted together the night before, even though the letters were crooked and smudged with tiny fingerprints. She set the cupcakes on the small table they used as a cake stand. She placed his little gift, a toy car she saved for months to buy, under a paper napkin so he wouldn't see it too early. Every few minutes, Kobe ran to the window to check if anyone was arriving. "Maybe they're stuck in traffic," he said hopefully. "Maybe," Amelie whispered, forcing a smile. She watched him jump around, humming his favorite song, his joy filling every corner of their small home. And she felt a mix of emotions. Love so big it overwhelmed her, and sadness so deep it almost swallowed her. But she kept decorating. She kept smiling. She kept making the day beautiful. She knew she couldn't control who showed up, but she could control what her son remembered, that his mother tried, that his mother showed up for him every single day, that his birthday was filled with laughter, not disappointment. So Amelie lifted him into her arms, spun him around as balloons floated past them and said, "Today is your day, Kobe. And we're going to make it perfect, even if it was just the two of them." Amelie placed the small chocolate cake on the table, lit the 5 tiny candles, and turned to call Kobe. He was standing a few feet away, bouncing excitedly, clapping his hands. "Mama, can I blow them out now?" he asked, practically shaking with joy. Wait, let me take a picture first," she said, reaching for her phone. But before she could open the camera, her screen lit up with a notification. A message from Nalifa. She frowned, confused. Maybe they changed their mind. Maybe they're on their way. For half a second, her heart tried to hope. Amelie opened the message. Her entire body went still. Photo after photo filled the screen. Bright, colorful, full of smiles. Her family was sitting at Serena Lakeside Resort, one of the most expensive places in the city. A long, shiny table covered in plates of roasted lamb, grilled fish, fruit platters, sparkling drinks, and desserts that cost more than her whole day's budget. In the first photo, her mother Zuri was laughing, holding a glass of juice, wearing a new dress Amelie had never seen. In the second, Nalifa and Timu were posing with champagne, making peace signs, showing off the luxurious buffet behind them. In the third, all of them were doing a group selfie, smiling so big, looking so happy. And below the last photo was the caption, "Family Day. We deserve a break." Amelie felt her stomach drop. Tight. Her mother had said, "Things are tight." Her sister had said the same. Her whole life they had fed her excuses, reasons, lies. But here they were, eating food she couldn't afford even for a treat. Drinking champagne, taking photos, enjoying a family day that didn't include her or her son. She stared at the pictures, her breath stuck in her throat. Kobe tugged her dress gently. "Mama, can we blow the candles now?" Amelie looked down at him, his innocent face glowing from the candles. She forced a smile, even though her eyes were burning. "Yes, baby," she whispered. "Come here." But inside, everything shattered. The message wasn't just a message. It was a reminder. A truth she kept avoiding. They didn't forget her. They didn't struggle. They didn't care. They lied. Again. Without shame. Amelie wiped the tears before they could fall. She picked Kobe up, kissed his forehead, and said softly to herself, "Never again." Amelie stood there with the cake knife in her hand long after Kobe blew out the candles. His laughter filled the room, echoing against the walls of their tiny home, but her mind was somewhere else. Stuck on those photos, on the truth she could no longer pretend not to see. Her phone was still on the table, screen glowing with the images of her smiling family. The family day caption felt like a punch she didn't see coming. She didn't open the message again. She didn't delete it either. She just stared at it, the pain slowly hardening inside her. Normally, she would type a polite message. "Okay, no problem. Hope you're all having fun. Maybe next time." But today she didn't type anything. She didn't argue. She didn't complain. She didn't ask why. She simply locked the phone and placed it face down. Kobe jumped into her arms, frosting on his cheeks. "Mama, I made a wish. Do you want to know it?" Amelie kissed the top of his head and held him close. "Keep it a secret, my love. Wishes work better that way." He giggled and ran off to play with his new toy car. The moment he left the room, the smile on her face dropped. Her shoulders slumped. A quiet tear finally escaped, not from fresh pain, but from years of carrying the same wound. She walked to the window and watched the street outside. Children were playing. Neighbors were laughing. Life was going on. And for the first time, Amelie felt something shift inside her, a small but powerful spark. She whispered into the silence. Never again. Never again would she wait by the window for people who never chose her. Never again would she explain herself to a mother who only loved her when it was convenient. Never again would she let her siblings treat her like she didn't exist. Never again would she let her son grow up watching her beg for crumbs of affection. She had spent her whole life hoping they would change, hoping she would finally be enough. But now she understood. The problem wasn't her. It was them. And she was done trying. She wiped her face, straightened her back, and took a deep breath. Her pain wasn't gone, but something stronger was rising in its place. Courage, clarity, and a cold kind of determination she had never felt before. For the first time in her life, Amelie wasn't scared of losing her family, because she finally realized she never truly had them in the first place. And she was ready to let go. The next morning, Amelie woke up early, still feeling the heaviness of yesterday. She made breakfast for Kobe, packed away the birthday decorations, and tried to focus on work. She wasn't expecting visitors. She wasn't expecting anything at all. But around noon, a loud knock echoed through the house. Before she could even answer, she heard laughter outside. Loud, careless, the kind of laughter that didn't belong to people who had hurt her just hours ago. When she opened the door, her family stood there like it was the most normal thing in the world. Nalifa held a half-eaten cake box. Kimu was sipping a soda. Her mother, Zuri, had sunglasses on and a bright smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Surprise!" Nalifa chirped. "We brought you some cake from yesterday." As if the buffet was not enough, Timu joked, nudging her. Amelie's stomach tightened, but she kept her face calm. Her mother stepped forward proudly, lifting the box as if it were a precious gift. "We brought you something. Aren't you grateful?" Grateful. For leftovers from a party she wasn't invited to? For crumbs from a table she should have been sitting at? For a family who couldn't even send a happy birthday for her child? A small, polite smile formed on Amelie's lips, but her eyes stayed sharp, cold, steady. "Thank you," she said quietly. "Please come in." They walked inside like they owned the place, placing the leftover cake on her table, commenting on her curtains, and talking about their amazing day at Serena Lakeside Resort. "We ate so much I thought I would explode," Timu laughed. "The view was beautiful," Nalifa added. "We should go again next weekend." Amelie watched them talk, watched the ease with which they ignored what they had done. No apology, no guilt, no shame. Just pretending. Pretending the photos didn't exist. Pretending they hadn't hurt her. Pretending she should be grateful for whatever scraps they brought her way. Her mother glanced at her and sighed dramatically. "Amelie, why do you look so serious? We came all this way. Can't you at least smile?" Amelie folded her arms slowly, her expression unreadable. She felt Kobe standing behind her leg, holding onto her dress. She placed a protective hand over his head. Then she looked at her family, really looked at them, and something inside her finally settled. She wasn't scared anymore. She wasn't confused. She wasn't waiting for kindness that would never come. With a calm breath she spoke. Her voice was soft but cold enough to freeze the room. "We need to talk." All three of them fell silent at once. They did not expect that. And they definitely weren't ready for what was coming next. Amelie didn't sit down. She didn't offer them tea, didn't try to make the moment comfortable. Instead, she walked to her bedroom quietly, leaving her mother and siblings confused in the living room. A minute later, She returned holding a sealed brown envelope and a small silver key tied with a black string. The room fell silent. Her mother frowned. "What is that?" Amelie placed the envelope gently on the table. "Something Dad left for me before he passed." Nalafa rolled her eyes. "Dad left things for all of us." "No," Amelie said softly. "Not this. This one was only for me." She sat down finally, her fingers trembling slightly as she opened the envelope. Inside was a neatly folded letter, written in her father Bantu's handwriting, the handwriting she had seen on every school permission slip, every birthday card, every report card he signed. She took a slow breath and began reading aloud. "My dear Amelie, if you are reading this, it means I am no longer there to say these words myself. And that breaks my heart. I want you to know something I should have said long ago. I saw everything. I saw how your mother and siblings treated you. I saw you being forgotten, ignored, pushed aside. I saw you carrying pain you never deserved." Her mother shifted uncomfortably. Nalafa crossed her arms. You stared at the floor. Amelie continued, her voice growing steadier. "I am sorry, my daughter. I should have stood up for you. I should have protected you more. You were the strongest of my children, the most hardworking, the kindest. And I failed you." A tear slipped down Amelie's cheek, but she kept reading. "That is why I made a decision before I died. A decision I did not tell anyone else. The company I built, Bantu Logistics, belongs to you. Only you. You will find the key to my office and the storage in this envelope. The legal documents are already filed. Run it your way. Grow it your way. And never let anyone dim your light again." She placed the letter down. The room felt like it had stopped breathing. Then she lifted the silver key slowly, letting it shine under the light. "This," Amelie said quietly, "is the key to Dad's office. He left the company to me." Her mother's mouth dropped open. Nalafa shot to her feet. Mu's eyes widened. "What?" her mother whispered. "That's impossible." Nalafa snapped. "You're lying," Timu spat. Amelie opened a folder she had kept hidden underneath the table and slid it toward them. Stamped, signed, official documents confirming the transfer of ownership. Her father hadn't just loved her silently. He had trusted her, chosen her, believed in her. And now everything had changed. The moment Amelie pushed the legal documents across the table, the room seemed to burst open like a storm. Her family didn't even take a full second to process the truth before the shouting began. Nalafa was the first to explode. "This is unfair," she screamed, slamming her hand on the table so hard the cake box shook. "I'm the oldest. Dad would never leave everything to you. You're lying. You're trying to steal from us." You stood up too, pointing a finger at Amelie as if she were a criminal. "What did you do, huh? Did you trick him when he was sick? Did you force him to sign things? This is your way of getting revenge for nothing. You always exaggerate your little, sad childhood." Amelie didn't move. She didn't flinch. She had heard insults her whole life. What was one more? Her mother stepped forward next, her voice shaking with anger. "These papers are fake. I will never believe Bantu would choose you over his other children. Never. He loved this family, and you are trying to tear it apart." Amelie looked up slowly, her expression unreadable. "He did love this family. That's why he left the company with someone who would actually work, not destroy." That made her mother gasp. Nalafa shouted louder. Hugh kept pacing, waving his hands. Her mother clutched her head dramatically. "You think you deserve this?" Nalafa yelled. "You aren't responsible enough." Hugh barked. "You are breaking this family," her mother cried. The noise was so loud even Kobe peeked from the hallway, frightened. Amelie gently motioned for him to go back to his room. When he disappeared, she finally spoke. "I let you all talk," she said quietly, but her voice sliced through the chaos like ice. The room froze. Even the air seemed to stop moving. She reached into the folder again and pulled out the official documents one by one. The notarized will, the asset transfer form, the ownership certificate, her father's signed letter, the lawyer's verification. She placed them neatly on the table, turning each page so they could read clearly. "Nothing here is fake," Amelie said calmly. Dad chose me. And this is the proof. Her mother's face went pale. Nalafa stared at the papers, her mouth opening and closing but no sound coming out. Gnu sank back onto the couch, stunned into silence. The screaming ended. The accusations faded. All the noise vanished. For the first time in her life, Amelie's family had nothing left to say. The truth sat between them, undeniable, unshakable, and final. And Amelie stood on the other side of it, stronger than she had ever been. Amelie looked at the three faces in front of her, faces she had spent her whole life trying to please, trying to understand, trying to love even when it hurt. But now all she felt was clarity, a deep, steady calm that she had never known before. Her mother was still frozen, staring at the documents. Nalafa wiped her tears angrily, unable to accept reality. Gnu kept shaking his head, as if denial could rewrite the truth. Amelie stood up slowly and reached for the cake box sitting on her table, the same box they had brought so proudly, like it was some kind of charity. She lifted it gently, walked toward them, and placed it back in her mother's hands. "I don't want this," she said quietly. Her mother blinked. "What?" Amelie finally looked each of them in the eyes, one by one. "You skipped my child's birthday," she said, her voice steady and painfully clear. "You skipped me my whole life. Now," she took a deep breath, "now I'm skipping you." Nalafa's face twisted. "You can't just cut us off like that." Amelie didn't argue, didn't yell, didn't explain. "I'm done begging to be part of this family," she said softly. "I'm done accepting crumbs. I'm done being your afterthought." She walked to the door and opened it wide. "You may leave." Her mother's mouth fell open. "Amelie, don't be childish. We're still family." Amelie shook her head slowly. "Family shows up. You don't." There was nothing more to say. Her siblings stormed past her, furious and humiliated. Her mother lingered a moment longer, staring at her as if waiting for Amelie to break down and change her mind, the way she had done so many times before. But Amelie didn't break. She didn't cry. She didn't bend. She simply nodded toward the door. "Goodbye, Mama." And for the first time ever, her mother had no power over her. The moment the door shut behind them, something inside Amelie unlocked, something that had been trapped for years. A heavy weight lifted off her chest, leaving her standing taller, breathing easier. She leaned her forehead against the door for a moment, letting the silence wrap around her like a warm blanket. It didn't feel empty, felt peaceful. A small hand tugged on her dress. She turned around and saw Kobe looking up at her with big, worried eyes. "Mommy, are we okay?" he whispered. Amelie scooped him into her arms and held him close, kissing his cheek. "We're more than okay," she said softly, smiling through fresh tears. But this time they were tears of relief. "We're finally free." A few days after closing the door on her family, Amelie sat down at her small desk with Kobe playing nearby. She opened her laptop and began typing. She didn't use her real name, she didn't need to. She just wanted the world to know the truth she had lived, the truth she had finally acted on. She wrote, "Family isn't blood. Family is who shows up. It's who supports you, loves you, and respects you. I spent my life hoping mine would, but they never did. Today I chose peace. Today I chose me and my son. That is the family I will always protect." She hesitated for a moment, then hit post. Within hours, comments started flooding in. Thousands of people across Africa were reading her story. Mothers, daughters, even strangers who had experienced similar pain shared their support. "You are so strong. Your son is lucky to have you. This is inspiring. Thank you for showing us how to stand up for ourselves." Amelie read every comment, a warm feeling spreading through her chest. For the first time in years she felt truly seen, truly supported, by people who didn't owe her anything but cared anyway. Meanwhile, things began to change in her life. Bantu logistics thrived under her leadership. Deals she had only dreamed of were coming through. Employees admired her dedication, and clients trusted her judgment. Her father's legacy, her legacy now, was growing stronger every day. Her mother and siblings tried to reach out after seeing her post. Calls, messages, even letters. But Amelie didn't respond. She wasn't angry anymore. She simply didn't need the chaos they brought. She chose peace, not pain. Instead, she focused on Kobe. She filled their home with laughter, learning, and love. Birthdays were celebrated with care and joy. Achievements were cheered. Every hug, every bedtime story, every small moment was about building a life of truth and warmth. And every night when she tucked Kobe into bed, she whispered, "We are safe. We are enough. We have each other." Amelie had finally learned the most important lesson. Family isn't the people who abandon you. It's the people who stand by you. And in that truth, she found freedom, strength, and a life full of love, for herself and for her son.